Welcome back to the channel, and in today's video, we're tackling a very legendary series among the Dragon Ball fandom, Dragon Ball SF. Dragon Ball SF was a fan-made manga series, and the SF in the name stands for Strongest Fist. We'll get into the history about this series a little later, but before we begin, make sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss another update. Without further ado, let's get it. Dragon Ball GT finished airing in 2005, and for Dragon Ball fans, that meant no more content, no more new and crazy adventures, and no more power-ups. It feels bittersweet and incomplete as Dragon Ball GT had a pretty open ending. We saw Goku fly away into the sky, and that was it. We never got new crazy arcs or enemies again. It was the end of our collective childhoods as we knew it. But one fan named Nikon23 decided to continue the Dragon Ball story with none other than Dragon Ball Strongest Fist. Dragon Ball SF was popularly distributed on sites such as DeviantArt and the Otaku, where Nikon23 would be behind every panel, every story, and illustrate some amazing fights. Now let's get into the story. Dragon Ball SF actually combines the timelines of Dragon Ball GT and Dragon Ball Super. Specifically, the original first run of this fan-made series started off with what's now known today as the Generation Saga. However, this series was short-lived, but gained popularity once again after Dragon Ball Super came out, directly tying the timelines together. Flashing forward, the series is split into sagas, much like the original Dragon Balls. The first saga is called the Universe 7 Saga, and it has 3 chapters. In these chapters, Nikon23 basically retells the entire story of Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, and also combines all the movies into the canon. It's the perfect story, as now everything is canon, and yes, that even includes Bio Broly. The next storyline is the Azure Saga, and this is where things start to get a little more interesting. This is the story that is set directly after the events of Dragon Ball GT, and combines some of the new lore from Super. We see that Goku goes with Shenron into the Divine Realm. This is where Beerus and Whis come into the picture. They find out what happened to Goku and the dragons. It seems that the God of Destruction has been watching Goku during his fights with Baby, as well as Super 17. It's very interesting seeing the Super storyline being combined with GT, and it actually works pretty well. This is where we are introduced to the major villain of this saga, Azure. Azure is, of course, an original character, and he seems to be a direct challenge for Goku and his progression in power. Goku meets Azure, and of course they start to fight immediately. And Goku has to use all the forms of Super Saiyan in his fight, but none are enough. Finally, he turns Super Saiyan 4. Azure is really powerful, like Goku does not stand a chance during their entire fight. Still, Azure does not seem to be a total villain. Goku then continues their training as their fight is ended. Goku is now in the Spirit Realm, and he goes on many adventures. It's pretty similar to the time gap between the Cell games and the Majin Buu saga. Dead villains like Frieza and Cell are causing a mess in Hell, and Goku has to beat their ass like always. In the meantime, Goku trains with Agon. He meditates and tries to achieve a form called Seiji Ken. When Goku finally uses this form, it's pretty similar to his Super Saiyan God form. Still, Goku has to learn how to control this transformation. To show just how much character progression there is in Dragon Ball SF, we actually see Goten get married at the end of this arc. He marries a girl called Belize. Goku is at the wedding as well. Actually, all the Z fighters show up. And this entire saga ends with Piccolo getting brought back to life. We all remember his goofy death in GT. Piccolo joins the living world just in time to leave Earth with Goku and Vegeta, and the trio goes to the Divine Realm to train even more. The next saga is the After Future Saga, and this is interesting, as we see an Earth without Goku, Vegeta, or Piccolo. They are gone for quite a while, almost over 6 years, and we see how Gohan, Goten, Pan, and all the others live on Earth. In this timeline, Earth has been at peace for many years. I like that in SF, the story is much more organic. Earth isn't being blown up every 2 minutes. Also, one insane detail, in this story, Piccolo as a kid Yes, we all know that Piccolo already had a son and his name was Gohan, but it's wild to see Piccolo actually be a father to a real Namekian child. And his son's name is Kagyu, and he was born sometime after Baby was defeated. During this arc, we also see Piccolo deal with the news when he gets back. Pan is now a teenager and she trains all the time. Basically all the characters from GT are pretty much grown up, and we came a long way from the GT filler adventures. She is also a superhero just like her dad once was, the great Seiya girl. Also, Gohan and Videl had another kid, and his name is Maku. Maku is a lot younger, so he is mostly in school the whole time, and Pan pretty much looks after him. We're also introduced to a grown-up Trunks, who now has a wife named Mai. They even have a son called Shallot. That's so wild seeing Trunks actually have a normal future and not the android and death future. There's a lot of time skips in this arc, and eventually the 32nd Tenkaichi Budokai saga begins. We are introduced in this arc to the next generation of Z Fighters. Goku and Vegeta also take on more of a mentor role, which is pretty unique to the story, having them step back. In this story, Vegeta achieves all the crazy forms that Goku does, and our boy Vegeta isn't falling behind anymore, at least in this fan fiction. Furthermore, Goku trains his grandkids in this arc, and Vegeta and Piccolo train his son. No, not Gohan, but the actual one. Also, it's soon revealed that fighters from Universe 6 will be part of the 32nd Tenkaichi Budokai tournament. It's cool how the multiverse is connected to another tournament arc. Kale, Khalifa, and Polina are the fighters who are going to be part of the tournament. Hit and Kaba show up, but they are not actually in the tournament. Instead, we meet a whole new bunch of fighters. We're introduced to Indra, Arctic, and Majin Wrath. This last fighter is set up to be the major villain, and he seems like a true demon. While all of that is happening, this whole arc is basically the introduction of the next generation of Z Fighters. Yinsha is the son of Yamcha and Aya, and also he is the reincarnation of Baby, which is freaking nuts. And Yamcha actually did something useful for once. Maku is also part of the tournament, as well as Go-chan. And Go-chan literally looks identical to young Gohan, and he is the son of Goten. In general, a lot of crazy fights with unique and new characters that really expand the Dragon Ball universe are part of this story, Dragon Ball SF. And this Budokai tournament saga is still going on today. Nikon does all his work solo, so it takes time to finish the manga panels, but it's still coming. What I can say about this is it really brings back the glory days of Dragon Ball tournament arcs that we all knew and loved. There are also plans for a future story arc called the Invasion arc, but not much is known about it right now. All in all, Dragon Ball SF is a perfect example of a passionate fan continuing the original material while trying to create something new and interesting. While the Z Fighters still act the same, SF actually does a lot more to progress the stories and their lives. They do not feel as static as they felt in the anime or current stories. This entire story is a fan's passion, which is really special. It shows just how big of an impact Dragon Ball has had on so many people. Hopefully, Nikon 23 can continue his work and deliver new and exciting chapters of the Dragon Ball story. It's really special that we can have this type of content and makes the original series that much more nostalgic. Until next time, peace.